It's a perfect day for me to tell you a story of two Torah-believing Jews. These two guys, both in their early 30s, held tightly to the truth of the Hebrew Scripture, stood firmly on its teaching, and ultimately gave their lives for the convictions that they held. Let's go back to around 167 BC, before the birth of Christ, in the Common Era, before the Common Era. And I'm using the Gregorian calendar, which uses the birth of Christ as that point. But the year is about 167 BC. And in Israel, there were the natural enemy of the Greeks. The Greeks controlled everything north of Israel, and will, for simplicity's sake and for relevance sake historically today, the Greeks controlled Lebanon and Syria. But they had a problem. They had a problem with these pesky Jews in Jerusalem and the rest of Israel. So they had to teach the Jews a lesson. So they sent warriors down to defeat the Jews, particularly in Jerusalem, take over the Holy Temple, desecrate it, show who's in charge, and then put the Jews in their place. And the Greeks did that, led by Antiochus, who was a maniac, basically, the king of this empire, Grecian Empire. He went into the temple, destroyed everything. He took pigs and slaughtered pigs on the altar, which is a Torah offense, took a statue of Zeus, the king of the Greeks, sitting on Mount Olympus, put a statue of Zeus in the holy temple. You can't desecrate the temple more than that. Well, because of the might of the Greek army, he was able to pull this stuff off, but but for one family. Mattathias had 5 sons, and one of those sons was Judah. And for a variety of reasons, their name became known as the Maccabees, the hammer, particularly Judah, the hammer. And this small family decided to fight back against the mighty Greek Empire, but not in a head to head confrontation, more intelligently, guerrilla warfare, beeper Jew warfare, outsmarting your enemy. And they launched guerrilla attacks, and you can read the history. They prevailed. They pushed the Greeks out of Israel, and one of the immediate tasks they initiated was the cleansing and the consecration and the dedication of the temple. And those Hebrew words, consecration, dedication, the Hebrew word is Hanukkah. Um, and we know the story. We know that in order to work in the temple, they had to light the candles for light. They had one day of this special holy oil. It's all they had, one day supply. And they lit a candle to last for one day, but it lasted for 8 days. So the supernatural miracle of a little portion of oil lasting for 8 days is the impression that we get from the holiday now called Hanukkah. But more importantly, we need to look at this Maccabee family who saw that the offense, the violation of Torah, was beyond their willingness to stand for. They had to fight against it, and they did. And history shows that 4 of the Maccabee brothers, plus Mattathias, the father, all were killed in defending Israel. One brother, Simeon, lived and became a ruler. But the point is, these Torah-believing men stood firmly on the truth, on the importance of the temple, and gave their lives for it. Now, jump forward 200 years, and we have a Jew, a Torah-believing Jew. It's all he knew. He didn't know anything about the New Testament. His name is Jesus. He was a Jew. He wasn't a Christian. There was no such thing as a Christian. He traveled to Jerusalem to go to the Passover feast. And when he got there, he saw, as the Maccabees saw, the desecration of his father's house with the money changers and the evil people abusing poor people with the exchange for the animals that needed to be purchased for sacrifice. And he saw the house of prayer. He saw the temple, God's holy place, being desecrated, similarly as the Maccabees did. And what did Jesus do? Jesus preached a message of love and peace. He was not what many people thought a Messiah would be like, a political or military leader. His message was, look, we're alienated from God by sin. I'm here to provide a bridge from individuals to God to complete the scriptures. And that's my message. My kingdom is not of this world. My kingdom is of the next world. But when he saw the temple being desecrated, he made a scourge. He made a whip. And he went in, Jesus, little peaceful Jesus, he went in and whipped people in there and knocked tables over, told them to get out of here. You don't desecrate the house of God like this. And ultimately, Jesus died for what he believed was the truth of standing on the scriptures. And I believe that too as a Christian. So here we have two guys, both of whom Torah-believing Jews gave their life for their beliefs. And uniquely, rarely in history does this occur, today, December 25th, 2024, Christmas, the birth of Christ, and Hanukkah come together on the same day. Sundown today on the East Coast, I'm talking about the East Coast now of the United States, the sun goes down, Hanukkah begins, and Christmas has another 6 hours or so. And I see this symbolically, drawing back upon the Hanukkah miracle, not just of the oil, but of the warriors willing to fight for that which is true. And 200 years later, Jesus willing to fight for that which is true, peacefully, but applying force when necessary. I think it's a beautiful message for Jews and Christians to understand today, on December 25th, 2024, where we can see the unity. We've had a rough past, Jews and Christians, but the unity we've experienced over the past 20, 30 years, the support Christians have given for Israel in this battle, an amazing unification is occurring, even though there's significant disagreements over the Messiah and some other issues. We have recognized we are brothers and sisters supporting the Judeo-Christian worldview, looking to fight against, stand against the attacks of Islamic Jihad, Marxist revolutionaries, and other ideological and real-life physical enemies. So, standing on this beautiful day of December 25th, joining Hanukkah with Christmas, let's look at 2025 as a year of Judeo-Christian, Jews and Christians unified ideologically in a brotherly manner, willing to take a stand and fight to the death if necessary, but wanting to preach a message of love and consideration and forgiveness and reconciliation. Bringing those two Torah elements together creates a whole purpose and a whole person. And when you understand the truth of the scriptures and stand on it confidently, you cannot be stopped by the enemy, whether it's ideological or whether it's physical. So my admonition for all of us, let's look at 2025 as a year of advancing the Judeo-Christian truth to all people, but standing firm and fighting when necessary. Thank you all. Have an absolutely wonderful Hanukkah Christmas Day. Tom Trento.